Happy Sunday. You're here with Bobby and JJ Radio. We have Mr. Trevor Morton with Cachet Real Estate Financing. Trev is a real outdoors. He's a man's man. He's an outdoors man. He loves hunting, fishing, and I think he does that every weekend because I can never find him. And
he does pre-quals on the hunting site.
Yeah, he does. He'll do them in a boat. He'll do it whenever.
He puts down the fishing rod and he gets the pre-quals done.
He's actually a graduate from University of Houston. Are those Cougars?
Go Cougs.
That's it. And he worked in the
I like Cougars.
In the oil field industry before coming to lending, and he's doing that for 3 years, which is kind of a family business because he works with his mom, which is Miss Robin Morton. So let's talk about Cachet Real Estate Finance and tell us all about your company and what separates you guys from your competition.
Definitely, bud. Cachet Real Estate Finance is a full-service mortgage banking firm. We service everything from lot to land loans all the way up to new construction and into pre-owned products. We dabble in FHA, VA, conventional, basically everything that's out there and some kind of out of the box stuff. And that's one of our advantages on not being a big box bank is that we could still find some stuff that really doesn't work in other areas.
Yeah, so like you guys do the 203Ks, which are very popular. You do the
they do a lot of the loans that a lot of the major loan officers in town don't want to touch, have no experience in. We call Trevor. He'll do from ranches to actually getting a lot, building a house, getting you through the whole process.
Yeah, the whole interim, just actually the build out one, which is, and you ask other loan officers, say, yeah, we got, and they'll tell you straight out, we have that product, we're just not very,
or we're not competitive with our rates where Cachet is.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about as a buyer, why is the pre-qualification process so important, Trev?
Something I can stress to everybody, when you're going and talking to Bobby and JJ, for instance, they like to know what you're able to qualify for. That's both price-wise and payment-wise. And you need to make sure that you're asking the payment question as well, because that's just as important on, hey, I can afford to buy a house that's $300,000, but I don't
want to.
Right. I only want to pay like a $2,000 a month mortgage.
Right.
And that's two different ball games.
Yeah, you don't want to be having ramen noodles on your granite countertop. Right?
Bingo. Exactly.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And so what is the difference between, there's a big difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval, correct?
Definitely there is. Pre-qualification's really not worth the paper it's written on. It's just you basically saying, this is what I have, this is what I want, and a lender's coming in and saying, okay, sounds good, and putting it on a piece of paper.
Right.
You really, really
So the loan officer really hasn't looked at the credit, hasn't looked at the bank statements and verified the income.
W-2s, tax returns, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so when should a buyer get pre-qualified in the process?
That's something that you really want to do at the very get-go, at first engagement, because you want to narrow down your selection on what you're looking at, housing-wise or land-wise or whatever you're looking at. You want to know how much you really can afford, both payment-wise and total amount-wise, before you go into the ball game. Because if you're looking at $1 million houses and you're only able to get $200,000 houses, you're going to be sorely disappointed when you find that out halfway through the process.
Yeah, you're saving people a ton of time. I've shot people, and then all of a sudden they decide to get pre-qualified earlier in my career. They decide to get pre-qualified, and they realize that what they've been looking for is not in their ballpark.
Well, that's changed too now. With the new listing agreements that we have with sellers in paragraph 11, they actually mark what they're willing to accept as far as FHA, VA, Texas Vet, conventional seller financing. And so if they check a box and you don't match up to that box, like some people don't want to, do FHA or VA because the sellers don't want to pay that extra money that it would take for having a guaranteed government guaranteed or a government insured loan, and so they only want conventional cash. And so you have a buyer that's only approved VA, well then you really shouldn't be taking them out to that house because it's pretty unethical.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some just quick overviews of qualifications to get these type of loans that we were just mentioning right now?
It's all across the board, JJ. It really is. What you really want to focus on if you're looking to buy within the next year, make sure you are claiming your taxes. That's the biggest thing that I see is everybody wants to write it up and write it off, but you really should claim it, especially if you're looking to buy within the next 2 years, because the federal government mandates that tax return determines how much money you really make.
Right.
If I'm W-2 $200,000, but I write off $150,000 in housing expenses and car and everything like that, then it's coming back and I really only make $50,000 instead of $200,000.
Yeah, and that takes away all your buying power at that point.
Yeah, that's my biggest tip.
And what are some documentation that for like me as a buyer, what are you guys going to require?
Definitely, it's actually real simple. in this day and age with the internet, we have online applications which save so much time, both in the travel side and sitting in front of somebody for 45 minutes. You could do it after dinner, and it takes 3 minutes to put it in. You're going to need a credit report. You're going to need tax returns for the last 2 years, W-2s for the last 2 years, bank statements and pay stubs. Those are really the base
That's the meats and
documents.
potatoes.
That's exactly right. That can get you a conditional approval.
And you guys are really
Based on
quick
that.
at coming back with an answer, right?
That's correct. Our goal is within 3 days to have you full numbers right in front of you, so you can look and start shopping.
Because I've heard like the really big banks here in town, like people go
week,
to get qualified, like
2 weeks.
I'm waiting to hear back, and there's 2 weeks in, and they still haven't heard. But you
Yeah.
guys, within 3 days,
Yes, sir. Correct.
Absolutely. So if you want to get some more information about Cachet Real Estate Financing and talk to Mr. Trevor Morton or Miss Robin Morton, you can email them at tmorton@cachet, that's CACHETREF.com, or you can call them at 210-725-1685. Again, that's 725-1685. Check out their website at CACHETREF.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Bobby and JJ Radio.